Good evening and welcome back to the USA for the Next Gen Racing iRacing Legends, Season 20 of Next Gen's existence, and today it is the penultimate round of the season, coming to you live from Thompson Speedway, as we said, in the Connecticut state of Northeast USA. This track first built in 1940, following the remains that were built up after a hurricane that occurred in the region back in 1940. Only a 1 kilometre oval, so nice and short for these very small cars. A 4-turn oval, similar shape to speedways such as South Boston and Homestead, Miami, a very popular oval track in the USA. On iRacing, these Legends cars, as we know by now, are free, as is this oval. So if you are a fan of oval racing and you get iRacing, this is probably one of the first combos of the track and car that you're likely to participate with. These Legends cars and this Thompson Speedway. Tonight, the 9th round of Legends. It's been a long season thus far, and do excuse the poster, it's not 100% accurate representing of what's happening for the next few rounds, but round 1 was at Brands Hatch Indy, round 2 was at Donington Park National Circuit, round 3 Lime Rock Park, also in Connecticut State, but back over to the UK for round 4 for the Alton Park Island Circuit, then the Silverstone National Circuit for round 5. Week off in the halfway point, and we are back for the Snetterton 200 layout. Daytona road course, the NASCAR road course, was round 7, and last week was the Oran Park circuit, now fictional circuit from the Australian country. Round 9 today is not Bristol Motor Speedway, it is the Thompson Speedway, and next week round 10 will be the Silverstone International Circuit. A late change of circuits by the admins to feature better racing. We have 3 races tonight, all 15 minutes. Race 1, the grid is based on qualifying. Race 2, the grid is based on a reverse of the top 10 finishes from race 1, and it's a full reverse grid for race 3. Jamie Doble is the man to contact if you want to get involved in this series. There's another series coming up in a few weeks' time. More news to be announced on that very soon. Probably next week we'll announce what's going on for season 21. But Next Gen Racing, you can search them on Facebook, as it's spelled in the top left there, NXTGEN Racing, and you'll find the group to join to get involved in the racing, or just join the group if you are a fan of the racing. And coming into tonight's round, it is hotting up in the championship. So here is the top 10 coming into tonight's round. Mikey Doble, a very impressive round at Oran Park last week, extended his lead at the top, with Bobby Thompson not performing to his usual best. 3 podiums for Mikey Doble extended his lead to 22 points. Bobby Thompson in second on 431 points. Dan Holland in third place. He had a very impressive night at Oran Park with 2 wins, race 1 and race 3. Ollie Peters is in 4th place, relatively on his own, but him and his teammate William Foyle, 4th and 5th, they'll both be very pleased with their performances this season to get them where they are right now. Jamie Doble, our league host, in 6th place, overtook Matt Allen, absent in the last race, who takes up 7th place. Lee Horn is in 8th place after missing a round a few weeks ago, back with a bang in Oran Park and got himself into 8th in the championship. Jeff Perkins in 9th and Stephen Daly in 10th. So this is the Thompson Speedway. And we're watching the cars get some practice in the calm before the storm, which is just over 5 minutes away. Mikey Doble top of the standings as per usual. But we've got Ollie Peters, who I'm told is a bit of an oval specialist. Loves his NASCARs and likes the Legends, and he's on oval on his familiar territory. Ollie Peters is a motocross driver in real life, so he would have relished the dirt oval that was in the schedule for next week, but it is on tarmac for round 10 next week. But his oval racing is something that he treasures so much on iRacing. He will be looking forward to tonight. Less than a 10th behind Mikey Doble's quickest time. Dave Newsham back this week after taking a week off last week. Lawrence Davey 4th in the standings at the moment, attended a few rounds ago, and attended a few rounds this season in 4th there at the moment. He's battling with 5th place runner at the moment, Tom Delaney. Tom Delaney, who has been relatively improving over the last couple of rounds. The second half of the season has been much better than that of the first. And William Foyle in 6th place. The Crest Autosport machine, and Jamie Dory in 7th place. Bobby Thompson not here tonight, unfortunately, so it's a big opportunity, as Katie Eames has said in the Facebook chat, for Mikey to get a good haul of points tonight and extend that lead over Bobby Thompson and look for a relatively easier charge towards the championship next week, which will be at Silverstone International Circuit. But the one and only oval race of the season today. So a completely different medium of iRacing. There's 4 different mediums you can take on iRacing: regular circuit racing, tarmac oval racing, dirt oval racing, and dirt track racing, which is otherwise known as rallycross. And this, the second of 4 mediums being tested tonight for these drivers. So it's a chance for some drivers who rather like the ovals, or perhaps prefer the ovals over circuit racing, or particularly good at oval racing, have an opportunity to make their presence known in this medium of iRacing. But there's some drivers who might not prefer the oval racing, and might not be looking forward to tonight, and might fall back. A few dark horses to look out for potentially, and a few who might fall short with this different type of racing they got to take on. And as we mentioned, 3 15-minute races tonight. We also have a 15-minute qualifying to look forward to as we look at Jamie Dory on the infield there, coming out onto the track. And with there being less drivers than usual, now doesn't necessarily mean that the racing is going to be any less exciting. With there being less drivers, there's more opportunity for the drivers, and it might actually mean closer racing between the few of them. We'll see how tonight goes. It should be very, very interesting, with plenty of width on the track for the drivers to go 2, even 3 wide in these very small Legends cars. As we see Tom Delaney coming around turns 1 and 2 there. Speeds dropping to around about 110 kilometers, and then speeds increasing to about 150 kilometers. So relatively slower than most circuits. He takes a spin coming out of turn 4 there. Relatively slower in terms of top speed than most circuits, but the corners are much, much faster. So there is a lot less room for error, as we saw from Tom Delaney there. Taking a little dip on the grass, which spun him round. And you've also got to be careful of the outer walls on this track, as we saw Davey go very, very close to the outer wall then. And yes, thank you for reminding me, Katie. Yes, there will be a rolling start tonight. Usually it has been a standing start throughout this season, with it being circuit racing. But yes, as it's an oval, it will be a rolling start. And unlike oval racing, there will be no cautions. So if there could be tears for some drivers. If we're lucky, there's a lot less drivers tonight. But yeah, usually in oval racing, if an incident happens, it usually throws a yellow flag, which is a full course caution where you follow the safety car until the track is cleared and you can resume racing again. Here, this bespoke series, trying out a form of oval racing, there is no full course cautions. As Dave Newsham and William Foyle come together at the end of practice here, and will descend into qualifying right now. So Thompson Speedway moves on to qualifying. Dave Newsham and William Foyle leave the pits. William Foyle first out onto the track. And Let's Buy Dave Newsham and Lawrence Davey right away. Wants a draft from them. And Dave Newsham seems to be comfortable out in front. Now, as we've mentioned all season, these cars tend not to get a humongous draft going down the straights here, but with it being ovals, draft might become a little bit more important tonight. So Dave Newsham going nice and high, taking the higher groove around turn 3 and 4 there. As he hits the wall, that's not a great start for Dave Newsham, in fact. He'll have to reset to the pits to start again. Now luckily these laps are very short, 22-23 seconds we're seeing on times already, so resetting back to the pits and coming straight out, you're not really losing out too much track time, not like what we saw at the likes of Daytona or Snetterton, where there are much longer tracks. Mikey Doble, top of the standings at the moment, and the times are going to come thick and fast. Another time will be set by Mikey Doble here. Doesn't go quicker, a little bit slower, a 22.584 at the moment for Doble. And the good thing about tonight is, I might jinx it, but you know, usually we see tenths between drivers and sometimes seconds, but tonight it's going to be more down to tenths and hundredths of a second. Jamie Dory second in the standings at the moment, getting a little bit of a tow from Lawrence Davey in front. Lawrence Davey getting on 3 wheels there, coming through turns 3 and 4. Dory comes out of the corner. Does go quicker. Within 2 tenths now of Mikey Doble. Oval specialist Ollie Peters across the line, third at the moment, quarter of a second behind Doble, but now goes within 2 tenths, 0.181 behind. So Mikey Doble dominating all season on the circuit. It's looking pretty good on the ovals as well for him. But Jamie Dory just takes second place now. The tyres warming up a little bit on these cars. Within a tenth of Mikey Doble is Jamie Dory. And a spin further up there. Jamie Dory had nowhere to go, so he took it into the wall, and in fact has collected a lot of cars. He collected Davey, and that was Tom Delaney who was in the way of Jamie Dory there. Some drivers get away unscathed. Dave Newsham puts in his first time of the session, a 22.8, 3 tenths of a second off top spot. And the tyres haven't quite warmed up yet for Dave Newsham, so plenty more to come, I'm sure. Tom Delaney hasn't set a time yet. We saw him going into the wall, so he'll have to come back to the pits, reset and head back out. This is what the drivers need to be careful about tonight. Hitting that wall will end their race. It would just be too much damage on the cars if they touch that wall. Doble completes another lap. It's looking very smooth and very clean at the moment, sitting consistent 22.5 laps, and the only one to set a 22.5 at the moment. And sometimes in oval racing you do often find that times, well, they don't use times, they use average speeds to record positions, as Mikey Doble slows down to go back to the pits and get new tyres on. Oh, and a big collision there for Lawrence Davey. Do excuse me, it's not a 15-minute qualifying session. You would have thought I'd know that by now, but a 10-minute session, and on ovals that's plenty of time. William Foyle, what can he do now? 5th place at the moment, 4 tenths of a second off top spot. A small improvement will see him to 4th. Bigger improvements will see him higher up, but it does improve. He does improve his time, gets closer to Dave Newsham, but not quick enough to push him down the standings. Tom Delaney and Lawrence Davey rejoin the track to do a few more laps with just over 5 minutes to go. Delaney starts his first flying lap. Dave Newsham on another. Not too far off his personal best there, as was William Foyle, and a slight hit the wall there for Dave Newsham. Tom Delaney will complete another lap here. Tom Delaney nearly a second off at the moment. That looked a relatively clean lap. He'll come across the line, and it's not quicker. Tom Delaney missing the mark a little bit tonight. But for how long, we'll see how he gets on as Mikey Doble streams up behind him. Take to the outside. Mikey Doble on fresh tyres, lifting the left side of that car up as he goes around turns 3 and 4. In the 22.6 region. Oh, and a spin there for Lawrence Davey, and Doble just about avoids him. Dave Newsham trying to use a little bit of the toe he'll get from Mikey Doble, and it's working as he sets a personal best at 22.7. Ollie Peters comes out the pits, might have startled Dave Newsham a little bit, but Newsham carries on, getting a little bit of a toe from Doble as we mentioned. And we've got Tom Delaney trying to get a toe from Ollie Peters. Peters joining the track behind Dave Newsham. Newsham goes quicker and into 3rd place. Tom Delaney goes into 5th place, so it's really heightening up now. Mikey Doble had his personal best as well, extends his lead in qualifying at the top there. So 3 drivers crossing the line, each with personal bests. Ollie Peters rejoining the track, needs to warm up his tyres just a little bit before he gets going properly, as he's 8/10 or just shy of 8/10 behind his personal 800, sorry, behind his personal best. Nice speed of 155 kilometers per hour going into turns 3 and 4. He's got a tow from Dave Newsham to help him out. Across the line, Ollie Peters goes. And it is a personal best, but stays 4th at the moment. So Ollie's definitely, the tow is definitely helping these drivers today. And as Dave Newsham peels off, realising that he's helping Ollie Peters along, Ollie has now got to do it without a tow, which is very difficult. At the moment, it's Mikey Doble at the top, as per usual, as he peels off, and he'll reset to the pits to try a few more laps. Jamie Dorr, you haven't mentioned him for a while. Still not out of the 22.6s. And Mikey Doble, we just saw there, rejoining the track just behind Jamie Dory. There he is in the 88 machine. Into turn 1 goes Jamie Dory, and Mikey Doble latching onto the back of the orange Legend car there, the Next Gen livery, and Jamie Dory peels off to let Mikey Doble through and try and get a tow from him now. Mikey Doble won't care about that, I don't think. Mikey seems fairly confident tonight. 22.536 for Mikey Doble, so close. 15 hundredths off of his personal best, so Mikey Doble thoroughly the quickest man on the track right now. But I tell you what, 2nd to 4th are rather close, 5th to 7th are fairly close. Consistent 22.6s for Mikey Doble, 22.5, sorry, for Mikey Doble at the moment. William Paul sets a personal best, gets closer to Tom Delaney, but still in 6th for him. Oh, and a spin there for William Paul, nearly blocking the track. Everyone just about avoids him, and it was off the main racing line on this circuit. Newsham comes across the line, 3rd place at the moment, 22.7. But just look at Mikey Doble, consistent 22.5s. He really knows how to hook up these cars, whether it's on a circuit or an oval. Not much time left in the session. Now when drivers start crossing the line, they'll have one more lap to complete before qualifying expires. Tom Delaney at the front of this train. Newsham there, runs a little wide going into turn 1, and Mikey Doble is behind him. So Tom Delaney at the front, peels off. Dave Newsham we saw went wide, so Mikey Doble pretty much doesn't need to pursue on, and gets in the way of Jamie Dory, who hits the wall. Might that have compromised Jamie Dory a little bit? I'm not too sure. That would have been an invalidated lap time anyway as he hit the wall. Tom Delaney 5th, and William Ford could not do any better, stays in 6th. So there we go, that will be qualifying done and dusted. Mikey Doble will be top of the standings going into race 1 and first on the grid. So, it's rather quick. Here is the grid for race 1 of the night. Mikey Doble on pole, Jamie Dory second, Dave Newsham third with Ollie Peters fourth, Tom Delaney fifth, William Falls sixth and Lawrence Davey in seventh. So we are about to get underway and the lights will go red very soon here and it will be a rolling start. So the drivers will follow the safety car around for one lap before they start racing here. Safety car sets off, as does Mikey Doble. And it's a double file start here. Remember, no full course cautions in this race. Mikey Doble leads the pack round. The safety car will peel off eventually. The racing will get underway. Lawrence Davey, I don't think, has made his way to the grid for one reason or another, so 6 cars making the start here and the safety car will peel off now. It is now down to Mikey Doble knowing when to put the hammer down. Do excuse me, 2 rolling laps. You've surprised even me, as it's a fairly short oval, so it's more than reasonable. And the safety car will peel off very, very shortly now. And then Mikey Doble will dictate the pace, ready for the start. And on ovals, you can only overtake on the outside on a restart or a start. So a lot of drivers will be covering that high line coming around turn 4 here. And away goes Mikey Doble. He starts here at the Thompson Speedway. Turn 1 we go, and Newsham up the inside of Jamie Dory nice and early there. We got Ollie Peters on the inside of Jamie Dory, and Dory hitting the wall, and he collects William Foyle, and the two have gone off onto the grass, and there might be damage on their cars already. Jamie Dory just couldn't keep it away from the wall, and both of them a bad start to this race. Mikey Doble leads at the end of lap 1, Newsham in second. Ollie Peters in third, finding that lower line, trying to get up the inside of Dave Newsham. Would not have as good a run, but Dave Newsham looked like he brushed against the wall then. Even that, it was the contours of the track bumping his car around. Ollie Peters favouring that lower line, trying to sneak it up the inside. It is all about patience on ovals and pushing to the limits of the car and the limits of the cars around you. Ollie trying to undercut coming out of turn 2. Lawrence Davey leaving the pits there, so he has rejoined the track. Peters still on the inside. Dave Newsham's trying that higher line in the hope that he can get more average speed around the corner, but Ollie Peters has managed to find his way past Dave Newsham into second place. Doble hasn't exactly pulled away just yet, but Doble's setting good laps, and it's going to take quite a push from Ollie Peters to catch up. William Foyle seems unscathed at the moment, and him and Jamie Dory able to carry on. Tom Delaney there, a bit lonely in fourth, but probably waiting for matters to unfold. Doble again, 22.5 is his average lap time, it seems, and no one else seems to be touching the 0.5s. Coming out of turn 4, end of lap 6. 2 minutes gone. Dave Newsham dropping back a little bit from Ollie Peters. Peters still within a second, and in fact matched Mikey Doble's time on that previous lap. What can Ollie Peters do? Taking the high line is something he's going to try. They don't seem to be coming down too low on the banking there. around either corner. In fact, turns 3 and 4, they're a lot higher up than they are here in turns 1 and 2. They're getting near the bottom lane coming out of turn 2. But generally the apex of the corner on an oval is usually slightly different to that of a circuit. Often is the straighter your wheel on an oval, the faster you can go. See, there's a fine line between turning the car to get it round the corner and turning the car to keep the wheels as straight as possible to make it go as fast as possible. And all that's said and done on a tight oval like this, there's lots of lines and variations you can take. Ollie Peters has gained a little bit on Mikey Doble in the last few laps or so. Ollie Peters, with his tyres warmed up, really, well, hottening things up, setting a 22.5 eventually. He seems to be going well in the draft here behind Mikey Doble, within 7/10 of the championship leader. This is good for Ollie Peters as well, tonight is anyway, as Dan Holland and Bobby Thompson are not here. This means Ollie Peters, 4th in the championship, will be able to close into them, ready for the final round next week at Silverstone International Circuit. So a good round here on Ollie Peters' favoured medium of iRacing, oval racing. Bodes well for him in the championship going into next week. Dave Newsham is in an intense battle amongst the top 10. Was knocked out of the top 10 at Oran Park last week due to non-attendance, but this week he might actually find himself back in the top 10 with a few drivers missing out tonight. William Full, who's been one of the most improved drivers throughout the season, not having the best of races thus far tonight, but 5th in the championship coming into tonight. He did not expect that at the beginning of the season. He just sort of took part in this series to get a little bit of experience on iRacing under his belt. Wasn't a particular big fan of these cars, but has come on leaps and bounds and finds himself 5th in the championship. Tom Delaney's another driver who has improved quite a lot, particularly in this second half of the season here, and finds himself 4th in this race at the moment. Ollie Peters dropping back a little bit in these last few laps or so, just hovering around a second off of Mikey Doble. Jamie Dory might have a little bit of damage on that car. He's stretched away from William Full. He might work on gaining Tom Delaney. His laps at the moment consistently faster than Tom Delaney and Dave Newsham. But the thing is, on an oval, when you're seconds behind on an oval, it takes a lot longer to close up that gap than what it does on a regular circuit race. Jamie Dory lapping a 10th quicker per lap than Delaney and Newsham. So a 10th per lap. You need around about 30 laps to catch up. Oh, and Jamie Dory going very wide through turns 1 and 2 there. Just understeering, carrying him up there. Maybe carried a bit too much speed into the corner. Just about avoiding the wall, and it might be that damage from earlier on in the race with colliding with the wall and William Foyle. It's coming to haunt him a little bit, potentially. And Ollie Peters has dropped off quite significantly from Mikey Doble. Doble is lapping much quicker at the moment. Ollie Peters going very high on turn 3 there. Hasn't got Dave Newsham to worry about yet, but half a second off the pace of Mikey Doble at the moment. And with this pace at the moment, although there's reverse grids to consider later, Mikey Doble might well be on course for a very, very trivial night, a very successful night. Jamie Dory in 5th place there. He might have come off a bit more unscathed than that of William Foyle did. William Foyle seems to be lagging a little bit in 6th place there, dropping back from the pack, and he might have ended up with more damage than Jamie Dory did. Excuse me, these were 15-minute races. They are, in fact, 10-minute races. Little did I know. But, yeah, relatively short races tonight on a very short track. We've got a minute and a half until we're complete here for race 1 of the night. We've got another 2 races to go. We have got, based on the fact there's 7 drivers here, there will be 2 full reverse grid races coming up. Now Doble's pace is dropping, but so's Ollie Peters. And Doble's pace has dropped about half a second since the start of the race, or since his personal best, which was early on in the race. So it really does show how much these Legends cars' tyres do drop off towards the end of the race. Even in a 10-minute race like this. Less than a minute to go, a few more laps to go. 4 seconds clear. Left side of the car lifting off the ground as he hooks the car down through turns 3 and 4. I believe there could well be 2 more laps to go for Mikey Doble here. Ollie Peters in 2nd, gained 2 places at the start there with getting past Dave Newsham nice and early, and Jamie Dory having an incident. But Mikey Doble starts the final lap here at Thompson Speedway. On the back straight for the final time will come through turns 3 and 4 for a relatively easy race. Much easier than he's had to deal with throughout the season so far. He crosses the line to take race 1 of the night. Ollie Peters comes through to take 2nd. Valuable points for him in his bid to get back towards the top 3 in the championship. Dave Newsham bidding to get back into the top 10 of the championship takes 3rd. Tom Delaney takes 4th place. Jamie Dory drama at the start will take 5th place with William Foyle in 6th. Lawrence Davey, having left the pits late at the start, will come through in 7th. But Mikey Doble, your winner, and donuts on victory lane as per the oval tradition. But here are your results of the first race of the night. Mikey Doble takes the win from Ollie Peters, Dave Newsham in 3rd, Tom Delaney 4th, Jamie Dory in 5th, William Foyle 6th, and Lawrence Davey in 7th. We'll have a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be race 2 of the night. Don't go away, we'll be back very soon. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com.
The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula One for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula One products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula One. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula One for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula One products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula One. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com.
Welcome back to Thompson International Speedway for the Next Gen Racing iRacing Legends. Round 9, the penultimate round of the season. The one and only oval of the season. And next week the finale will take place at the Silverstone International Circuit. Race 1, won by Mikey Doble. And a little bit of the chat with the guys before, so we'll view the standings as they were coming into this round of the championship. And it is mathematically possible for Mikey Doble to win the championship tonight. He needs a 79-point lead over Bobby Thompson or anyone to secure the championship. So I will head in and figure out what he needs to do over the next few races, but it could be very, very close. And in fact, even if it does go into next week, the gap will be so big that Mikey Doble will be very, very probable to secure the championship in race 1 next week anyway, provided he finishes the races tonight. So I'll head in. We haven't got the graphics live, unfortunately. We don't have those kind of facilities to hand just yet. But with Mikey Doble taking all 27 points out of race 1 and qualifying. He now has a 49-point lead, so we only need to score 30 more points to secure the championship, which is a race win and fastest lap, with a very low point score finish in race 3, so it is all largely in favour of that man Mikey Doble right now. But it's a full reverse grid for this race, and the grid is as so. Lawrence Davey on pole with William Foyle in second. Jamie Dory in third with Tom Delaney in fourth. Dave Newsham lines up fifth with Ollie Peters in sixth and Mikey Doble in seventh. You're having a bit of an issue with the liveries on the cars right now, and they will sort themselves out eventually. But I believe we've got 2 rolling starts yet again. Drivers make their way towards the grid, and everyone made their way to the grid. The safety car stays out for another lap here. He will peel off at the end of the next lap, ready for the start of this second race. But as we mentioned, Mikey Doble can't win the championship in this race, but he can win the championship tonight. So I'll keep you as updated as I possibly can. We're about to get underway here at Thompson Speedway for the second race of the night. Lawrence Davey on pole, safety car peels off, and Lawrence Davey is away nice and early. Onto the start-finish straight they come. Leads away, and that's Jamie Dory on the inside of William Foyle. Dave Newsham looking to the inside of Tom Delaney as they come around turns 1 and 2 here. William Foyle on the outside there of Jamie Dory, still not giving up, and neither is Tom Delaney with Dave Newsham. Mikey Doble still at the back here, taking his time. Dave Newsham feeds his way into 4th place, has now pulled into the draft of William Foyle, takes to the inside to follow Jamie Dory, and the two nearly came together. That was Jamie Dory and William Foyle, and look how close it is. It's 3 wide going down the back straight here, down towards turn 3 we go. Dave Newsham finds the inside, Jamie Dory gives room, but William Foyle is so close on his outside. Dave Newsham on that very low line, and William Foyle hits the wall back there, and that's slowed down Ollie Peters as well. Tom Delaney is going to feed back through into position, but Jamie Dory hangs on to second at the moment. Now tries the undercut on Davey. We'll have the inside going into turn 3 here. That's Dave Newsham right behind them. Davey taking the high line as Dory's on his inside, and look at that, Dave Newsham had a very good run out of turn 4. We'll now have the outside of Jamie Dory coming around turn 1 and 2. Very high line there. We'll try an undercut, gets a good run out of the corner, but held up by Jamie Dory running slow out of 2. Davey had a very good exit from turn 2. Newsham finds the inside. Is he able to keep it on the inside and get more alongside? Coming down this straight here, we've got the Crest Autosport drivers side by side back there as well, Peters and Foyle. Doble's up to 6th, but can't make progress just yet. It is quite difficult to overtake in these cars on these kind of tracks. As we're seeing from Jamie Dory here, Dave Newsham still on the outside. Doble is now alongside Ollie Peters. Peters very narrow on the inside there, nearly on the apron. Mikey Doble might have found his way past Ollie Peters, pushing along William Foyle, going into turn 1. A little bit of bump drafting there, familiar with NASCAR. Ollie Peters trying the undercut, coming out of turn 2 though. The Crest Autosport guys box in the championship leader. Peters up the inside, going into 3. Mikey Doble goes out wide, tries a bit of an undercut to get a good run on William Foyle. He gains rapidly on Foyle down the front straight here, but can't get alongside. Making it 3 wide would be dangerous, but up here, Jamie Dory trying the undercut, couldn't quite get Davey coming out of the corner there. And the Crest Autosport boys have still boxed in the championship leader. Tom Delaney is falling back a little bit, but might be able to gain back up if these lot keep fighting. William Foyle edges his way back ahead of Ollie Peters. And look at that, Doble's trying to find a way to squeeze in the middle without putting himself in any danger. There's no cautions here, and if
If he collides with any of these, his race is over, but he managed to get back in front of Ollie Peters. Ollie Peters went very wide coming out of 2, and now Doble is in between the two Crest Autosport drivers. Ollie Peters right behind Doble, doesn't look to the inside. Dory on the outside of Davey and gets a very good run. He makes it through. Brilliant move from Jamie Dory there, and let's just get a quick replay of that. Okay, it did happen, but we couldn't quite get an accurate replay. Jamie Dory takes the lead here, and Dave Newsham on the inside of Lawrence Davey, and we got Mikey Doble on the inside of William Ford. Dave Newsham couldn't quite get it through, but Doble might be in a prime position to take 4th place here from William Fall. Fall, who's now got a repaired car. We can see what he's made of now on this oval. He was hampered for speed due to damage in the first race. Peters pushing along. The person battling his teammate. Foyle will not be happy about that. But Doble appears to be through, and now it's a straight battle again between the two Crest Autosport drivers. Newsham and Davey still going at it. Newsham pursuing that inside line. The inside line will be the one that scrubs off the most rubber, however, because you're turning the wheel more and you're working the tyre harder because you're lower down on the corner and lower down on the banking. Newsham still in 3rd, and Dory pulling away ever so slightly, half a second clear of Lawrence Davey. Good run coming out of 4 from Dave Newsham, but couldn't quite find the inside, and that is Mikey Doble cruising up behind. Newsham going wide at turn 1, taking a late exit of 2. Good run on Davey as he comes up towards turn 3. He will find the inside, but will he have enough to power pass through turns 3 and 4? Davey is trying to close off Newsham as much as possible without making contact. Newsham still has the inside coming into turn 1. He might have the advantage, but Doble's pushing along Davey, and the two almost made contact there coming into turn 1. Davey has had a good run through turn 1 and 1 and 2 though, and has maintained 2nd position. Good fighting there from Davey. Newsham has to try again, and Doble has the outside coming around turn 3. A nice late apex on turn 4 there, gives him good speed coming out. He pushes along Davey. He hasn't got any room to try and make his way past either of these drivers yet, as they are side by side. Newsham didn't have a good run out of turn 2 there. Davey pulls away, and Doble now has the outside. Coming round 3 here, and that is Ollie Peters looking to join back in. It's 3 wide. It's 3 wide here, and Doble made contact with the rear of Davey, and he just about gets away with it. 3 wide still coming into turn 1, and Peters is on the inside of all of them. Still 3 wide coming around 2. Doble on the outside, Davey in the middle, Peters on the left, and it could be 4 wide here. It is technically 4 wide, and they do make contact. Davey and Peters make contact, and Doble just about got away with that. Peters also got away with it, but Lawrence Davey collected and into the wall. So let's get a little replay of that. It was him and Peters who got together. Davey on the outside there. Oh, and the two just came together with it being 4 wide. One of them moved, and it did cause the crash and impact. Ultimately, Mikey Doble was very, very lucky to get away with that, but we did have a 4 wide situation in the Legends here at Thompson Speedway. I've been waiting for that all season. But Mikey Doble comes out on top out of the 4 of them, just keeping it clean and hanging on that outside line has fed him through into 2nd. Now he can work on trying to catch up with Jamie Dory. 2 seconds up the road, only 3 minutes left to go in this session. 3 minutes left to go means we've got around about, do the maths Alex, around about 8 laps to go, I believe. Jamie Dory is being reeled in by Mikey Doble by a few tenths already. Newsham and Peters facing off a bit, and there is an incident further back. Tom Delaney has had a crash on his own out there. Oh, and he just went up into the wall there, understeered right into it and flips the car over. Normally I'd cause a caution, but today it doesn't, as there are no yellow flag cautions. Newsham and Peters still going at it. And it was great to see a momentary 4 wide situation earlier on in the race, which we'll try and get a replay of after the race here.
1.3 seconds between Mikey Doble and Jamie Dory. Zoom out a little bit so you can see the perspective of it. The sun sets here at Thompson Speedway. The track will cool, or the air temperature will cool, but the track might not. Ollie Peters looking to the inside of Dave Newsham, by the way. And this is the move that Ollie Peters was trying earlier on in the race. Less than a second between Doble and Jamie Dory. Peters trying that, and lower line, and Dave Newsham did get a little bit squirrely coming out of turn 4, and Peters is in the advantage point to take third place here if you can get a good run out of 2. Newsham with that higher line, the more favourable when it comes to acceleration, but Peters will hang it on the inside, has to keep it fairly high to maintain acceleration, but has to keep it low to keep it away from Newsham's left side. But let's just keep an eye on these two as well. They're within half a second. And Newsham had a good run through 1, which has edged him ahead. And Peters might be able to sneak it back up the inside. No, he doesn't. Newsham maintains third at the moment. Less than a minute to go. Jamie Dory hasn't got many laps to defend this lead from Doble. Doble hasn't got many more chances to make this move. If we look at best times, Jamie Dory has fastest laps. So Dave Newsham, if he wins this race, comes away with 25 points. £25 will mean his gap over Bobby Thompson in the championship extends to 74 points, which means he'll be only 6 away from winning the championship, and he now finds the inside of Jamie Dory. The time might expire by the time we get to the line. This will be a photo finish, but no! Jamie Dory crosses the line, and it will be one more lap, actually. It's going to be one more lap. That was nearly a photo finish situation with Jamie Dory just ahead, but will we get another? Doble tries the undercut, not able to get it on this one. He'll line it up through 3 and 4. Tries the inside, a big lunge, and he comes up on Jamie Dory. Dory has to power out the corner. Here we go to the line, side by side, and Jamie Dory edges it by a car length over Mikey Doble. Doble is your winner. Dory is your winner of race 2 here, and his first win of the season, I might add. The man who was 5th in the championship coming into this race, he was 1 point ahead of William Foyle, who was in 6th, and he extends that gap ahead of William Foyle to maintain 5th in the championship. Mikey Doble is having scored, I need to figure out the point system here, I can't quite remember what it was. I think he scored 18 points out of that, so plenty to do in the next race. And wow, what a race that was. Now, we'll classify the results and then we'll go back through a few of the highlights there. Jamie Dory wins by 1/10 of a second over Mikey Doble. Dave Newsham 3rd with Ollie Peters. Another photo finish for them. 3rd and 4th, we'll get a replay of that. William Foyle 5th, Lawrence Davies 6th, Tom Delaney in 7th. So let's take a look at that 4 wide situation we did see. I believe it was this. We'll go back to that. Very, very impressive to get 4 wide, but it did come at a slight cost. And the final move of the race between Mikey Doble and Jamie Dory here. Dory slings it up the inside there, but could not maintain the power through 4, and Jamie Dory just had to hang it on the outside. Mikey Doble had to give him room. The etiquette of oval racing is that. And let's just take a look at Dave Newsham and Ollie Peters as they finish the race side by side. Very, very close indeed. I think this is the run to the finish now. That is seriously close. Very close indeed. Very close indeed. Impressive stuff from the drivers. But that was race 2 of the night. And when we come back, it will be race 3 of the night, and hopefully another thrilling one like that one. Don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back very soon.
The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports, merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports, merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports, merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or if yourself are a retailer.
Welcome back to Thompson Speedway. Nighttime here in Connecticut, and it is the third race of the ninth round of the championship. And we are in for a potentially historic race here, as the championship could well be unfolded right here in these final phases of the night. Another 10-minute race to go. 71 points separate Bobby Thompson and Mikey Doble. 71 points separate Mikey Doble and Bobby Thompson in the championship. Mikey Doble needs the gap to be bigger than 79 points to win the championship. So realistically, with there only being X amount of drivers in the server tonight, it means that all Mikey Doble needs to do is finish the race to win the championship. It's going to be rather interesting, and particularly with the racing we saw in that previous race, will be will be very, very good to watch. All that again, a 4-wide situation, photo finishes, last lap, last corner lunges. We'll see how we get on. So yes, Mikey Doble comes into this race on 502 points. Bobby Thompson, who's not participating tonight, on 431. The gap is 71 points. Mikey Doble needs to win the championship by 80 points. Lead the championship by 80 points to win the championship. And as we mentioned, to get there, all Doble has to do is finish the race. Elsewhere in the championship, Jamie Dory and William Fall rage on in their battle for 5th and 6th. Jamie Dory heading the battle at the moment, 10 points clear of William Fall. Dave Newsham has got himself back into 7th in the championship. But without further ado, we go into the final race of the penultimate round. Tom Delaney via reverse grid on pole position. Lawrence Davies 2nd, William Fall 3rd, Ollie Peters 4th. Dave Newsham 6th with Mikey Doble in 6th. Dave Newsham 5th with Mikey Doble 6th, and Jamie Dory in 7th as he won the previous race. And we are gonna get underway in a few seconds here for 2 formation laps around the Thompson Speedway. Tom Delaney leads away. The man to watch is this man here, the champion-elect, if tonight and this race goes to plan. Tom Delaney will lead everyone off. Davey in 2nd place there was on pole position for the first race on the other end of the opposite side of the grid now. So instead of dictating the pace, he has to predict the pace. Tom Delaney will go. We come along the back straight, ready to start this final race of the night. Pace car leads Delaney round this 3rd and 4th corner, and Delaney is already away, starting nice and early, and across the line he'll come. Lawrence Davey in 2nd place, and William Fall will slot behind in 3rd. Newsham gets a good run on Ollie Peters to try and get into 4th position on the inside. The Crest Autosport driver, he stretches away back ahead of Newsham, and look at that, that's Doble on the outside of Newsham, coming around turn 3 now. The Ginetta driver versus the ex-BTCC driver. Side by side. Doble trying to stretch ahead, and up here further ahead we've got Delaney side by side with Davey, Foyle side by side with Peters, and Doble on the outside of both Newsham and Dory. Into turn 3 we go. Doble will take his time like what he did in race 2. Not quite tortoise in the hare, but took it slow and steady at the start of the race and got into his own race towards the end, screaming past everyone, and he is challenging William Foyle now for 4th place. Foyle guarding him off on that outer line. William Foyle taking to the inside nice and early into turn 3 there, and look at that, that's Ollie Peters, and Tom Delaney spins and he collects Mikey Doble and other cars. Dave Newsham has been collected as well. Jamie Dory was collected as well. Mikey Doble was. Well. And he gets away safe and sound. But if we look at Delaney, Foyle was collected as well, and there was just no avoiding that. Delaney getting too close to the wall. Doble carries on. We'll have to see if we can see any damage on the car. Doesn't seem all that visible. The car will be hampered in some way or another. And there's another spin further up. Oh, there was smoke pouring out of a car. I'm not sure who that was. But Ollie Peters leads, with Tom Delaney collecting. I think Lawrence Davey got collected as well, but that's William Foyle versus Davey at the moment. Ollie Peters leading the way. Ollie Peters hasn't won a race yet this season, so he's in a very, very good position to do so right now. It's very close between 2nd, 3rd and 4th here though. We've got Jamie Dory pressing on after the collision he was involved in, as well as William Foyle. Finds the outside of William Foyle and screams past coming out of turn 4. Jamie Dory charging in this 3rd race here. We got Lawrence Davey there taking a slightly higher line through turns 1 and 2. Doble's back here trying to gain back on this front 3. Again, all he has to do is finish. Dave Newsham back here was collected and didn't get away as lucky as others did. He's got a little more damage on that car as well. Peters leads away, 5 seconds clear, having escaped unscathed. And William Foyle might have a little more damage on that car than he does with compared to others. And he was real close to Mikey Doble there, not giving him much room on that bottom lane there, but comes away in 5th place. Doble charging back through. He doesn't need to do this. All he needs to do is get it to the end. Doble is professional racing driver. He goes out to try and win as many races, and probably every race that he goes out to he'll try to win. The instinct of a racer, and Jamie Dory on the outside of Davey gets past, and Davey running very slow on the back straight there. I'm not too sure why, but Dory now gets himself into 2nd place, and it's a yellow flag. They've thrown a yellow flag, and that was by admin's choice. So Ollie Peters' lead is now compromised, and there's drivers entering the pit lane here. Tom Delaney's in there, William Foyle's in there, Newsham carries on, and Peters has caught up to the safety car here. So this will make for a very interesting end here to the night. And as we mentioned, there are no full course cautions. There are, but it can only be thrown by an admin. So there was reason for the admin throwing it. Reasons that us in the commentary both don't quite know. Mikey Doble's in the pits as well, taking on tyres. He needs to make sure that he doesn't get lapped. Ollie Peters coming around this final corner here. And Doble gets away. And will rejoin the circuit with fresh tyres. It's a little bit like the Indy 500 where you gamble on tyres. That's Tom Delaney unlapping himself. All a little bit confusing at the moment. Mikey Doble resuming at the back of the pack. Tom Delaney's going to attempt to do the same thing. Lights still on the safety car, so I believe there's another round. He hasn't peeled off, so we'll continue to lead everyone round. Doble has caught up back to the rear, as has William Full. Tom Delaney soon to be catching up. It'll be a very close battle between these drivers in the final 3 to 4 minutes of this race. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we have another round to go after tonight at Silverstone International Circuit in 1 week's time from today. And we should have more drivers involved. The safety car will peel off as the lights are off. Ollie Peters will control the pace, and away he goes. Ollie Peters puts the foot down, and we start the final few laps here at Thompson Speedway. Mikey Doble's on the inside of Dave Newsham. Davey's on that bottom line trying to get an undercut on Peters, and Doble's now on the inside of Dory, who's going to try a big run on the back of Davey there. Coming into turn 3 though, Doble has the inside of Dory. Davey comes out a little bit wide. Doble's on fresh tyres, fresher than some of these other drivers, so might be able to get a lot more grip through these corners. Davey goes down to defend the lower line from Doble. Newsham's trying a bit of an undercut on Doble there. Dory on the outside line getting a good run out the corner. Finds the outside past Doble and alongside Davey, but couldn't quite make it all the way past. Coming out of turn 4, I think Dave Newsham's on new tyres as well. He was one of the ones to pit. Coming into turn 1 we go. Newsham on that bottom line, 3 wide. On the entry to turn 1, couldn't maintain it through 2. Doble's going to try the inside of Davey here, going into turn 3. A big lunge like he tried on Dory, potentially not quite the lunge that we saw in race 1. And they both nearly come together again. Davey just about avoids it and has to come up in front of Jamie Dory's lane. Davey cuts back down into the inside lane across Doble, but Doble has a good undercut coming out of turn 2. 3 wide coming down the back straight here. Doble tucks in back behind Jamie Dory and back up to the top line. Seems to favour it more, and Davey got a bit of understeer, and Kennedy came up into Dory then. Doble now finds his way on the outside of Davey, pushing along Jamie Dory. Peters is out on his own out there, and that was again a near miss for Davey, and Newsham nearly got collected as well by Lawrence Davey and drops behind William Foyle there, who's looking to join the party. Jamie Dory on the outside here. Doble's found the inside of the orange next-gen machine. I tell you what, I need to commentate ovals more often. This is great. Doble finds the undercut coming out of 2. Still has the inside into 3, that big lunge that we saw, very similar, deja vu almost, and Doble has found his way in front and cuts off the lane of Jamie Dory. Dory has a good run, sorry, I forgot the word, coming out of 4 there, but through 1 he couldn't quite get it up the inside. As it stands, Doble finishes the race, he will be champion. And he's only got less than a minute to go. Ollie Peters out there in the lead, less than a second between him and Doble. He only has a few more laps to win his first win of the season, if all continues. Doble has 5 wins this season, so he'll be looking for 6, but it is the championship ultimately that this is all about. Ollie Peters will come around the final corner here to start the final lap here at Thompson Speedway, round 9 of the championship. Round 10 coming next week at Silverstone International Circuit. Back on the circuit racing. Ollie Peters, the oval specialist, has 2 more turns to go to win his first race of the season. Look at that, a big lunge from Doble, and that might make Peters sweat a little bit, but it's not enough. Ollie Peters comes through to win race 3 of round 9. Mikey Doble comes through. He is our champion. Mikey Doble the Season 20 iRacing Legends champion, the Ginetta driver, and fireworks going off here at Thompson Speedway to celebrate our new champion. There he is. Jamie Dory came through in 3rd place, but our race winner, Ollie Peters, and it is all about this man, Ollie Peters. Sorry, Mikey Doble, your champion. What a night's racing we had. Very great indeed. In fact, we will pull in Mikey Doble now for an interview. Mikey Doble, you are the Season 20 Next Gen iRacing Legends champion. How do you feel?
Oh, well, it's been a long season, hasn't it? No, it's been good. I've really enjoyed the racing. Well, it's a shame Bobby wasn't here tonight, but I think that the main battle was kind of through the mid part of the season and just keeping the leads and keeping that points tally. But yeah, it was good fun. Last 2 races tonight were great fun as well.
It certainly looked fun, and it's actually invigorated my interest in commentating over racing. But yeah, it is a shame, as you said, Bobby Thompson couldn't be here, and to make it a bit more difficult for yourself in the process tonight. But it has been a thoroughly difficult season for you. So, what have been the main highlights of the season? What do you think has been the main races that sort of led you to this point where you're here right now in the championship, apart from tonight, of course?
Well, I think that we've got quite different styles. I think that Bobby kind of goes for the more... I think qualifying we've been fairly even. He might just have the edge on me. But I think he's kind of a little bit more aggressive in the races with his overtaking and takes more risks. I seem to play the percentages. But I think for me, it started turning my way at about Lime Rock when I think I had 2 wins and a 3rd, and Bobby had a couple of mishaps there. And then it kind of gave him the extra aggression to try and catch me up, and then from then on he was trying to do what he could in the traffic and try and play some tactics to try and claw some points back. And then when it got to Silverstone, things heated up a hell of a lot in that race 1 when we had the incident in the last corner, which eventually led to him being excluded. I think the highlight has just been the kind of 2-way battle we've had all year coming through the pack. It's always been kind of us 2 close together on the track, and it's kind of created a bit of a storyline throughout the whole series of ebbing and flowing the points gap, and I came out on top. So
absolutely. And yeah, you mentioned Lime Rock Park was the sort of breakthrough for you, but coming out of Brands Hatch, without a win, and come out of Donington Park round 2 as well without a win, it's just been a thoroughly consistent season for you. But did you sort of envision coming into the season that you would be, against some very tough competition? I mean, to name a few drivers: Dave Newsham, Bobby Thompson, Chaz Cleland. I mean, very notable driver yourself in the Ginetta series. But did you sort of envision yourself to be in this position at this point in the season?
No, not at all. I mean, I'm quite confident. Fairly confident on sim race, but I had no idea what sort of competition I was going to be up against. I knew that Bobby was in it because he was the one that kind of invited me into the series, but no, I think I've surprised myself a little bit, to be honest, beating some of those big names like you say. But yeah, it's kind of what's made the series, having lots of people from different types of racing all collaborating and racing together in the same platform. And with the live broadcast as well, I've had a group, I've had some family and friends that have followed the series all the way through and kind of got more and more intrigued as the weeks have gone by, as the relationship has grown more and more rocky. Only on a Wednesday night between me and Bobby. He tells me that I'm not his friend on a Wednesday, but during the rest of the week we can laugh about it. So
well, that's good to know. Yeah, well, thoroughly deserved results, particularly in race 1 tonight, and particularly throughout the season in the championship. But before you head off, Mikey, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any final words for anyone who might be watching?
Yeah, if they've lasted this long listening to me, I know I go on a bit, but my mum and dad, grandparents sitting at home, any of my usual mates that are watching, Sturty if you're at home, Gary. Yeah, that's about it.
Excellent stuff. Well, season 20 champion Mikey Doble, congratulations.
Thanks for the broadcast as well. Great job all season.
Hey, no worries, no worries. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Drop you back into the room with the others, and we will bring in Jamie Dory for a nice oh, actually, we might not be able to. He's doing his regular Dory debrief, which is a bit of a review of the racing. But we'll get a word with Jamie Dory next time at Silverstone International, as he has got a bit of forward planning to do between now and then to plan the next season of Next Gen on iRacing on Wednesday nights. And I'm sure we'll see plenty more of the likes of Mikey Doble, Bobby Thompson, Dave Newsham, Ollie Peters, Jamie Dory, and all the drivers we've seen here tonight, and the other ones that we've seen on other nights of the season. But tonight, a milestone has been hit. Mikey Doble is the Season 20 iRacing champion. He joins an illustrious group of championship winners in Next Gen's Hall of Fame. And I'm sure he'll be back next season to defend that title, whichever cars we're racing, whichever tracks we're racing at. 5 wins this season for Mikey Doble. Over 500 points scored so far, and there's still another round to go, and still another round for Mikey Doble to prove why he's champion. The battles rage on, however, for other places in the championship, which we'll go through now. We don't have the graphics available on screen, as I've mentioned many a times, but I'm sure it's something we could sort out. Ollie Peters, with that win in race 3, has edged himself into 3rd in the championship by 2 points ahead of Dan Holland, who was absent tonight. So the battle for 3rd will rage on into Silverstone International next week for 3rd in the championship. Bobby Thompson has pretty much tied up 2nd in the championship. Jamie Dory maintains 5th in the championship after taking it throughout the night tonight, but that battle will rage on between him and William Fall into next week. Dave Newsham takes 7th in championship, taking it away from Matt Allen, Lee Horn and Jeff Perkis earlier on in the night. But plenty to fight for in the top 10, which we'll cover throughout all of next week. But in the meantime, we have a champion here at Next Gen, but we have one more round to go. A thrilling round at Silverstone to finish it all off next week. We will see you there in 1 week's time in Northamptonshire for the final round of Next Gen and iRacing Legends Season 20. Thank you for watching.